This video was brought to you by my loyal patrons. Pledge today and receive exclusive perks. Link in the description.
My new tank engine, Ryan, will take care of the goods traffic, and I'll be calling on a very special friend to look after all the passengers.
But, sir, I already have a branch line.
Not you, Thomas. I was referring to Daisy, the diesel rail car.
Daisy?
Yes, it is. Thank you for noticing.
So, it's been a while, huh? On pretty much every video I post, people comment and ask the same question. When's the next Tugs Trains? When's the next layout update? Like, come on, guys. It's not like the last one was that long ago. Almost a year ago? Huh? Oh my gosh, time flies. How on earth has it been that long? This has been a really busy year for me and my family, with not a lot of time to really work on model trains. While not a whole lot has changed on the layout, I have, however, finally built a new engine. Daisy, the diesel rail car. Let me break down how I did it. Last month, my wife and I went to the UK. It was a quick trip, only about a week or so. One of the places we went to was York, and while we were there, we stopped in a model train shop, Monk Bar Model Shop specifically. And in stock there was this Hornby Railroad Class 101 DMU 2-car pack. I had just come off my Daisy high after working on her Sodor's finest. Now I have always wanted to make a Daisy, and it was on sale, so I figured, why the hell not? And so it came home with me. Now it is a Hornby Railroad model, meaning it's a budget model that uses an older tooling and is not as detailed as something like Bachmann's Modern 101 with working lights and whatnot. But I was fine with that. I see these budget models as perfect custom fodder. Why spend over $250 on a model if you're just gonna cut it up, right? Now Daisy is a Class 101 DMU. Although she is unique, she's a single car unit, and the 101s only existed as 2, 3, or 4 car sets in real life. I think the reason Daisy is what she is comes down to the model that Wilbert Audrey used for her on his own layout, a Triang 101, which he customized into a single car, cutting off the cab of the second car and modding it onto the end of the power car. He made his model of Daisy while writing her book, and the model was used as reference for the illustrator. And so, that's what she is. A specially built single car Class 101. Now I have always planned to make a Daisy for myself at some point. A couple of years ago I bought Dapple's Class 121 bubble car with the intention of using that for her. The Class 121s did exist as single car units, and in my mind, her being one of these made more sense realistically than her being a unique, made-up single car 101 that never existed in real life. But Dapple's 121 is a piece of crap, and it barely works. So that really soured me on making a Daisy. So she was forgotten about. But after diving a bit more into Daisy's history for her Sodor's finest, I've actually come around on the 101. As many people pointed out, it's not unheard of for railway companies to make unique variants of their stock for trialing, so we can just chalk Daisy up as one of those. But since single car 101s did not exist in real life, no models exist of them. So I would have to get crafty. I decided to follow Wilbert's own example and cut one up. Now to this model's credit, it is dated, but I don't think it's bad at all. For a cheaper, budget-friendly DMU, I don't think this is a bad way to go whatsoever. It doesn't have working lights or anything fancy, and it does use traction tires, which kind of annoy me, but it's something that I can look past. Now I actually really love Bachmann's Daisy from the Thomas line. It might be my favorite 00 model from that line. It runs really well, it has decent weight, and she's really accurate to Daisy's official CGI model. But I never realized how short it was in comparison to the real thing. I'm assuming this is accurate to the show, so Bachmann did their job well, of course. But wow, it really hit me comparing them. She's so small. This 101 is a 2-car set. The front car is powered, and the second is a dummy unit, essentially just a coach. First thing I did was take the whole thing apart, and removed all the clear window pieces until I had just a hollow shell left. Then it was a matter of cutting off the dummy coach's end. I measured each body to make sure my cuts aligned, so one end wouldn't be hanging too far over the buffer's edge or was too short to fit atop the motor. I masked it all off with tape, drew a line, and snipped it away with cutters. Once it was off, I sanded the cut edge until it was perfectly flat all around. Then I did the opposite for the power car body shell and cut off the gangway end. It took a few rounds of sanding to get it right, but eventually, voila! A perfect fit. Now to permanently attach them. For this, I used small plastic pieces left over from the windows and held them together inside with Gorilla Glue. Then when those dried, I used Tamiya putty to cover up the seam on the outside. This took a few rounds to get right. I'd lay the putty over the seam, wait for it to dry, and then I'd sand it with a fine grit sandpaper. Rinse and repeat again until that seam was smoothly covered as I could possibly get it. It's not a perfect job, but I don't mind. You don't notice the imperfections at a distance. 5-foot rule, right? Once I was happy with that, it was time for priming. I sprayed the whole body with a gray primer. This is Rust-Oleum Chalked Ultra Matte, for anyone wondering. And boom! She's looking good. All in one solid piece now. Something I want to start implementing on my models moving forward is giving them faces, or at least the option to take them on and off. Daisy's a bit of a weird case though, because the area where her face goes is so short on her real-life basis. I have a 3D printed Boko face, and I think this illustrates pretty well the small space that we're working with here. Daisy also has her token makeup in the TV series, which I wanted to keep, and I don't really trust myself with painting stuff like blush and gluing on tiny eyelashes, etc. So I looked to the toys. Surely there was a Daisy toy out there with a face that would fit this. And boy, are there some Daisy toys out there with ugly faces. I landed on the Take-Along Daisy, for I liked its expression, and the painted detail like her eyelashes looked pretty good to me. I found a very used one on eBay, and when she arrived, I found that taking this thing apart is impossible, so I had to get crafty. And when the drill didn't work, I had to try other methods. Don't follow my example here, kids.
This really speaks to the quality of the old Take-Along toys. These are impossible to break apart. Oh my gosh. I have no idea how the people that make customs so frequently, I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you get the faces off these things so easily. This is this is like impossible. Well, I had to completely dismember her to make it happen, but finally got her face off.
And there we go. Not a perfect fit, but pretty close. Some of the top and bottom would have to come off to fit seamlessly. I did a quick Photoshop test to see how much I would need to take off and to get a better idea of how I would look. And I liked it. So I made some marks with a pen and went to sanding. I sanded the big chunks off with a higher grit, and then finished it off with a fine grit to hide any sanding lines. And that worked pretty dang well. She's alive! A perfect fit. You don't realize how big Daisy's face is in the show until you compare them side by side. Now it was time for painting. Something else that I want to implement on my models moving forward is giving them a nice semi-gloss finish. Everything I've done before this has been in matte, which works for characters like Salty, who are meant to be grimy, but for someone like Daisy, who is always around passengers, she needs that shine. I wanted my Daisy to be in British Railways green, as she is in her first book, but I didn't want it to be so dark and drab. Something a tad brighter and a little more eye-catching. I did some testing with 3 different shades of green spray from Tamiya, a bright shade, a sort of middle green, and a darker racing green. I figured the brighter shades would be too light, and they were, so the racing green it was. I gave her a couple coats just to make sure every spot of her was covered. Do not rush this process. Let it dry for a good long time before inspecting for another coat. Your fingerprints will show if you touch it too soon. After what seemed like an eternity, Daisy was fully green. And at first, I didn't like the shade. I thought it was too dark. But I had to keep reminding myself that she would be decked out with lining and other details later on, which would contrast it. So I pressed on. I masked off her roof with painter's tape and hand painted that in a slate gray. Since this was a lighter color going on a dark one, it needed a few coats. Something I feel that Daisy really needs to be complete are passengers inside her. She is a rail car after all. Passengers are what she carries. I ordered this very cheap pack of sitting passengers from Amazon. They're very crudely painted, but that's fine with me. You're never gonna see them up close. The seats inside the 101 are one big piece that is removable. I went ahead and just started gluing people in random spots to fill the space. And already, it makes such a difference. She's looking more and more complete with every passing day. Even though you can't really see inside all that well, I figured I should probably paint her interior. I looked up photos of Class 101 interiors, and most of them carry this beigeish white color inside. So I painted her interior walls with an off-white acrylic. I didn't really care if this looked perfect or not. Most of it you'll never see anyway. Next up was the part I was dreading. Lining. Daisy has such intricate lining. Based on the first livery that the 101s wore, it's 3 yellow stripes that go along her body, with the middle one curving up and meeting the windows where the frames are. This was going to take a while. Just like before, I'm using yellow 0.35mm water slide lining from Fox, and I applied it in sections all along her body. I really didn't like this process. It took forever and it tested my patience quite a bit, especially when it came to the spots between the windows and the really pesky parts that curve on her ends. But I pushed through, and after a few days, I finally finished. Something I like about how Daisy is illustrated in branch line engines is how John Kenny depicted her with an early British Railways crest on her sides. This is a strange anomaly, as all the 101s all wore the BR coaching symbols, since they were essentially coaching stock. They never carried the cycling lion crest, at least as far as I could find, and nor did Audrey's model. However, the prototype for the 101s, the Metro Camel Lightweight, carried it when first built, as seen here, and I have to wonder if Kenny was provided photos of it. Regardless of the reason, I quite like it. Timeline-wise, it doesn't make sense for her to have one since she's canonically a later built 101, but who gives a crap? I've never seen anyone make Daisy with a BR crest before, so I went ahead and added one onto her. It breaks up the monotony of her design a bit. I always intended to paint the frames of her windows silver, just as they were in the books, TV show, and in real life. But the 101 that I bought had the frames already painted yellow, and I kinda loved how they matched her yellow lining. So I said, screw it. It looks nice as it is. Why give myself extra work? So I left them. Now for something I never see anyone talk about regarding Daisy. Her exhausts. The Class 101s all had their exhausts run along the coach ends, next to the door gangways. Daisy is a diesel, so she needs exhaust for her fumes to go somewhere. And since she's a single car, she doesn't have coach ends. So I had to figure out a spot for where these exhausts could be placed. I looked at the 121 as an example, which had theirs wrapped around the windows on one end. I kinda liked that, and tried seeing how that would look on Daisy's rear. Don't like that. I thought maybe on her sides, kinda like this. Too semi-truck-like. I consulted friends, and we all landed on running them horizontally under her body, in the rear area where her engine is, away from the passenger doors. I was happy with this, and glued them in place. The Railroad 101 has its couplings a part of the buffer beam molding. It's fine, I guess. I don't mind it on the rear end, but it's a bit of an eyesore on the front, when the first place you look is her face, and it's right underneath it. That'll have to be replaced. So I sanded it off the front buffer beam, and cut a small hole with an X-Acto knife. I have a bunch of these 3-link couplers by Smith's laying around, so these came in handy. I assembled one and fit it in place. And then I painted the buffer beam a bright red to hide the sanding lines. One final thing. This was a last-minute touch that a friend recommended. The prototype 101 had white wall wheels. I thought those looked so classy, and would totally fit a prissy character like Daisy. It's like she's wearing fancy shoes or something. Since she is a special version of the class, I figured she deserved them. I painted her wheel tires with a white acrylic, And oh my god, this little touch alone lifted the model so much. And with that, Daisy was done.
Daisy! You didn't do the run down to Knapford like I asked you to.
I didn't know anything about that, sir.
I saw Ryan pulling passenger coaches yesterday and with your mail truck this morning. He seems to be doing all your extra jobs.
Ryan offered to help. He wanted to be really useful.
Oh, Ryan and Daisy, you were given this branch line to work on together. It's good to help a friend, Ryan, but your friends should help you too.
Sorry, Ryan. I've not been a very good friend.
No, you haven't. And now, Daisy, you can have all of Ryan's extra duties.
But what about my springs and my swerves? Okay, sir. I can do that. For a friend.
Huh.
And there she is in all her glory. I think the darker green looks fantastic in this light. The lining contrasts it so well. I'm glad I stuck with it. Let's break her in. I am really happy with Daisy. Considering it's been a couple years since I last made a custom model like this, I think she turned out fantastic. The only thing that I would like to modify in future is giving her working lights. I have these small white and red LEDs that I plan to install and solder to her wheel pickups eventually, but I don't have a soldering iron yet, so that'll be a job later on down the line. For now, I'm happy to see her run without them. I have no idea what or when my next custom model will be, but I do know that I want to redo some of my old ones. Thomas and Edward I'd love to redo at some point, complete with some nice semi-gloss finishes. Those will happen eventually, but who knows when. I'll get to them when I have the time.
Daisy the diesel railcar likes to do just what work she chooses, and no more.
Right then. Off I go to pick up your trucks.
Okay. Thanks, Daisy.
And then, to the quarry.
Have a good day, then. You're a good friend, Daisy.
I know I am, Ryan. And so are you.
For this pick of the week, I want to spotlight a video and a channel I've been pretty obsessed with lately. Daisy the Diesel Railcar, Sodor 87, by Keeper of Toast. While starting work on my own Daisy, I looked up videos from other people who also made her to get some inspiration and tips, and I came across this video. Not only is this model of Daisy pretty dang accurate and well detailed, but it's in true HO scale. That's right, not 00, actual HO. Everything you see here is built from scratch, and I respect the effort so much. Check out some of his other videos too. He's done Duck, Thomas, Rosie, and many others. It's great stuff, and very informative. Here's a Patrick update for you all. In case you missed the short I posted, Patrick is now safely encased behind glass on my bookshelf. It was a real trial trying to find a case that fit him. This is the 4th one that I've tried, but he looks good there. He looks happy, and I can now see him in full from my desk. Go check out my short on him for more. I am deep in the woods on the season 15 retrospective. At the time of writing this, I'm still in the process of rewatching episodes. I'm through 5 of the 20 so far, and these are just as bad as I remember them being. Trampy will be returning for this, and he and I watched Day of the Diesels for it. Just like we did for Misty Island, a reaction highlight video will be posted on Lucky Tug when the retrospective is out. It's probably still a couple weeks out, but it's coming. Slowly but surely, we're getting through it. And I think that's all from me. Not too many updates this time. If I don't see you all before then, I hope all my American viewers have a very happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you all in the next one, folks. Bye-bye.